Hey, so today's movie is Luth by German filmmaker Tilman Sänger. It's a movie from 2018 and it's a homage to 1980s horror cinema. From what I understand, it was basically the director's thesis movie at the film school in Cologne. So considering it's basically in a way it's a student movie, it's one hell of an impressive achievement, and I have to say I have a lot of sympathy for this kind of filmmaking, because Luth immediately caught my attention because it's a contemporary movie shot on analog film. It's made in scope in 16mm, so the film's visual appearance is very pleasantly grainy with some quite nice dialed down colors, and it's a small scale movie. The budget wasn't very high at all, so most of the action is confined to this quite large office room supposed to represent like a rundown police station. And when it comes to performances, Luth is a love it or hate it movie. I could see some influence from maybe early Fassbinder movies, so they're quite mannered. The performances are on the theatrical side, but enjoyably so. Like the opening shot of the movie, it's this static camera and you see this character kind of waddle into the room, and the shot is held on forever. So immediately it brings to mind some early Fassbinder movies where, you know, from the anti-theater times. So performances are deliberately not realistic, but they're charged, they're emotional, and you can tell that actors really put themselves into the roles. Speaking of characters, it's not a character-driven movie. However, Luth still manages to keep you watching by just sheer strangeness, but it's a harmonious kind of strangeness. I gotta say, this movie Luth reminded me of a recent movie I reviewed, this British movie called Barbarian Sound Studio. When it comes to Barbarian Sound Studio, I was quite negative because the movie left me frustrated and it was overlong. I would say the same qualities which made me dislike and criticize Barbarian Sound Studio are the same other qualities which make me heartily recommend Luth. Luth doesn't overstay its welcome. It's barely 60 minutes long. I watched the DVD, and I think if you exclude the closing credits, the movie is about 59 or 60 minutes long. So it's nice and short. Luth really is a good one if you're tired late in the evening, you want to watch something crazy, but you know, you don't want to stay up too late, so that's a good one. Also, there is a wall-to-wall 80s kind of synthy soundtrack, nice and keyboard heavy. I really liked it. I think the movie was pretty much plastered over with this music, and for the most part it worked really well. Generally, I think this movie succeeds on pretty much every front. It's a successful small-scale movie which delivers occasional shocks, but it's not so much of a monster movie. I think there were a lot of film reference there, some more veiled than others. There is like a quite direct visual gag sending us, referring back to Tobe Hooper's excellent Life Force, which I think is Tobe Hooper's best movie. And then there are other occasions where you think, okay, this feels like Carpenter or this and that. But movie rises above the prestige by virtue of the strength of its performances and about how experimental it is. There are just 2 or 3 actors and a few chairs in this empty room, and they just, by virtue of their dedicated performances, they keep you watching. It's pretty damn. When it comes to things which could have gone wrong, there is plenty. The movie, had it been slightly less enthusiastically acted, would have come up as ridiculously pretentious, but it doesn't. In my opinion, I really didn't have a problem at all, because I thought, wow, the actors pull these weird little vignettes off with such gusto. That was, you know, comes highly recommended. There is great cinematography. For the most part, it's static shots, but very carefully framed scope shots, and because it's very tastefully lit, the film looks pretty epic considering it's origins. And then there is an occasional tracking shot here and there, which again elevates, the film's style above average. I think the finale of the movie completely lost me. To be fair, the last few minutes I didn't even care what was happening anymore. I was just enjoying the ride. I was kind of blown away by the film's audacity and its grasp on style and how to build up this kind of weird drive out of almost nothing, which is what a lot of contemporary horror movies are missing, is this weirdness, the right kind of weirdness, which is atmospheric, not just torture porn kind of, cold and impersonal horror, but it has an artistic quality to it, which I really enjoyed. There is another movie called Luth, which came out a year later. It's called Luth, The Flower of Evil, and that's a Colombian movie, so not to confuse with the German movie Luth, made in Cologne in 2010 by director Tilman Singer. Tilman Singer is now working on a new project. Apparently Malkovich is involved. John Malkovich is on board, so definitely a project to look out for. I urge you to check out the trailer for Luth in case you have not, if in case it has flown under your radar up until now, because it is a relatively hard to find movie and I don't think many people have heard of it. It's definitely the one I would recommend. It might look a little bit too experimental for some, but I find at that length, at just over an hour running time, it definitely works, and I can't wait to rewatch it. Actually, maybe the story will make a little bit more sense on the second viewing, but it's not so much a story movie. It's basically, it's like your usual, you could say it's a murder mystery. So there is this taxi driver character by the name of Luth, and she's been interrogated in this police station. Then there is a demonic possession, which ends up in this quite messy confrontation within the police station. And there are a few flashbacks which are very nicely rendered on low budget. So I just thought this was a movie where style and substance went hand in hand, and I thought, on the whole, of recent German movies I am aware of, Luth had the best acting from relatively young cast. I've never heard of any of the actors, but neither do I follow the German scene all that closely. Anyway, I loved the performances. I think this was the central reason why I embraced this movie, because even though the characters were sketchy, they were sympathetic enough to, within the limits of the story, they were functional, and the actors gave a lot to make sure that the scenes, even the weirder ones, the more esoteric ones, come across nicely, and there is a healthy dose of blasphemy in Luth. So it definitely, the character, the taxi driver, I think she's meant to be from Latin America, and she's had some weird experiences at the convent school as a child. So there is a few moments of blasphemy in the film, which just be warned in case you are sensitive about that sort of thing. You might be offended by some of the dialogue. Another reason why Luth reminded me of Barbarian Sound Studio is it's a kind of a bilingual film. There is an interpreter translating some of the lines, so it being a German production, the bulk of the dialogue is in German. However, because all actors pretty much switched to Spanish at random, and then there is this guy in the synchro booth, and he's got the headphones, and he's kind of doing live, interpreting for them. So it reminds you of, it reminded me of Barbarian Sound Studio, where it also used to switch a lot between Italian and English, and so those kind of international flavored productions are also, I think, quite fun and quite enjoyable. I wonder if this film has had much international distribution. I know that there is a German DVD out there from Bildstörung. So highly recommended, Luth from director Tilman Singer. I can't wait to rewatch this film. It definitely is the kind of film I want to promote here on this channel and trash film addict. So if you like this video, hit the like button and share it around. Thanks a lot.